What's up, everybody? This video is a brief example-driven introduction to using Gnuplot via C++. It's a follow-up to part 1, which was about hooking up the C++ environment in Visual Studio with Gnuplot. If your environment is not set up, I suggest you first watch that and then come back. The link should be in the description below. My plan for this video is as follows. We will go through some very basic examples, then we'll write some convenience functions so that we don't have to write out commands as strings, and finally we'll write a class that can simplify the API. That class can be extended by you for your domain. So let's get started. The point of this first example is the importance of the new line character. Yes, the new line character, as ridiculous as that sounds. Most Gnuplot commands should end with the new line character. Here I am creating some random data, and I will just try and plot a line without the new line character at the end. You see a bunch of errors in the console. The only change we need to make there is we need to end that command with a new line character. Okay, so that's the takeaway. Another tip is that sometimes it can be faster to just look for help within Gnuplot itself. You open up Gnuplot, type in help, and then the phrase you're searching for. So for example, you can type in help smooth C-splines or help smooth. That can sometimes be quicker than going to the internet, but that's your call. Another variation on the function we wrote is to use temporary files. If you notice that dash there, that dash is a placeholder for the variable v, but no temporary files are created. There's another way of doing this. So we'll take the exact same function, and instead of gp.send, we will write gp.file1d with that variable, and we'll remove the dash. But there's one important thing you need to keep in mind. That new line character needs to be std_endl. If you use a new line character, there's no signal sent for plotting. And the difference between this new line character and std_endl is that std_endl flushes the output buffer and the new line character doesn't. So if your plots are not appearing, this is probably what's gone wrong. Another tip I can give you is a bit general but quite useful. Typically what you want is you want to scour the internet for examples, Gnuplot examples. And over time, you'll learn how to translate them to C++. You always have to tinker around with them, and I'm embarrassed to say I've spent an inordinate amount of time just trying to get the exact kind of plot that I want. So it's a process of discovery. Right? You look at something, you like a plot, you try to find the script behind it, then you bring it in and you modify it to your liking. And that's how I've noticed a lot of other people work as well. So keep that in mind. It's, very few people can write a complex Gnuplot script just straight up. Typically, there's a lot of experimentation involved, so don't get discouraged by it. Now let's look at an example straight from Dan Stalka's webpage. And Dan Stalka is the guy who wrote Gnuplot-iostream. And this example shows you that you can work with different kinds of data structures with Gnuplot-iostream. In this example, he sends in data using two methods. He has a vector of tuples that he sends in, and he sends in a tuple of vectors. In addition, if you're working with linear algebra libraries like Armadillo or Blitz++ or Eigen, Dan Stalka has examples on his GitHub where he makes that much more explicit than this example. But this example is great. It's a very simple example and works with, even if you don't have any of those linear algebra libraries installed. So it's worth looking at this and understanding it. And here I'll mention that Gnuplot vectors take 4 points. And there you can see the first send that he does, that is a STL vector of tuples. And the second send that he does is a boost tuple of vectors. So it's worth looking at this example. It's a very nice example. Before we move on to the final section of the video, I wanted to say a quick word about histograms. Histograms are deceptively easy to get wrong. Where the boxes start, where they end, what happens if a bin is empty, if the previous bin extends itself over into the next slot. There's a lot more subtlety to getting histograms completely right than at first glance. I've linked a very useful Stack Overflow discussion on this topic that highlights some of these issues. I simply wanted to mention this because histograms are such a common thing and so easy to get subtle things go wrong. The last part of this video is to write a class that makes our lives easier. So let's start a clean C++ project and bring in STL headers and the Gnuplot-iostream header. Notice that the Gnuplot-iostream header is available even without explicitly bringing it into the project. That is because I've copied that file into VC package so that it's available for all my C++ projects. So what we want is a simple API that is able to chain commands. Let's say we want to chain setGrid, setTitle, setXLabel, setYLabel, and finally plot the data structure. That is our goal. Let's write the class. We will initialize the Gnuplot instance in the initialization list. If we don't use the initializer list, the variable will be default initialized before the body of the constructor is entered, and that's not what we want. Next, we will write the member functions. I seem to have forgotten to switch to C++17, which is why string view is not available. So there I'm wondering what's going on before I realize my mistake. Switch all configs and all platforms to C++17. And now we should have string view. For each of these member functions, we'll return a reference to the object that will allow us to chain commands and simplify our API. Next, let's generate some data for a line plot. And finally, let's make a call to the object. There's one last thing I want to do, which is to add a set grid function to make the plot prettier. Commands for that are set grid and unset grid. And there you go. You have a nice looking plot. So the point of this is that whatever your domain is, you can sort of over time create a class that has all these helper functions that have a very clean API and take the pain out of plotting. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.